Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have done a little Q&A today, going to go through. I posted some in my emails, Instagram and inside my coaching group as well, and I've had a few questions, to be honest with you, a lot around training, nutrition, mindset, mainly around nutrition, which is my biggest forte as well. So anyone who knows me knows that's my sort of background. So, first question. I found it near enough impossible to lose weight after pregnancy, even when I do calorie deficit, which leads me to my next point. Maybe I'm consuming too much of what I shouldn't eat. I eat too many carbs, too much sugar, etc. without realising, which is slowing down my weight loss. Now, we are all aware with the fact that for you to drop body fat, the energy balance must be in a deficit. So let's say your maintenance is 2,000 calories and you eat 1,500 throughout the week. You will lose around a pound a week, because 3,500 calories is equivalent to around a pound of body fat. I've worked with a few people after pregnancy and stuff like that, where they struggle a little bit, and a majority of that is not down to too many carbs or too much sugar. It is down to consistency and making and overthinking it in a way. We all know that if you eat too much if you eat too many calories, you're going to be you're in a surplus, you're going to gain weight. Whereas you could eat in a deficit and still have too much carbs, sort of thing. And it all depends on, there's a loads of different factors to look at. Are you actually in a deficit? Are you in a deficit Monday to Friday and then you go fucking drinking on the weekend and then you just fucking drink back your calories, sort of thing? Do you track everything accurately? Are you exercising? Are you hitting your protein targets? Are you fucking walking? Are you more active? There's so many different factors in it. I will be honest with you, I don't think you would be in a deficit consistently from what you're saying. To be honest with you, I think that you might be in a deficit Monday to Friday, and then it all depends on your week. But it wouldn't be too many carbs, it wouldn't be too much sugar. That's irrelevant if your calories are below what they should be, sort of thing. So my question to you would be, give me a bit more context behind it. How many calories are you currently on? How active are you? Weekends, what do they look like? Fucking hell, it could be all sorts of things, like how much protein are you hitting a day? Are you prioritizing protein? Are you actually tracking anything? There's so many things. Digestion system. How often do you track your weight? Measurements, photos. There's so many different aspects to it, and it will happen. It will work if you're in a deficit. And I know it sounds a bit of a cliche sort of thing, but it will 100% work. Next question, protein for fat loss. How does it help? Should you have it if your goal is fat loss? Yes, 100%. Protein is king. Protein is king because when it comes to fat loss, protein is high in satiety. So when you are your hunger hormones, ghrelin and that, to keep your hunger hormones happy, if you like, we need to keep the satiety levels up. So protein is a good source for that. It helps build muscle. It helps muscle growth, repair muscle tissues. So yeah, if your goal is fat loss, then protein should 100% be the main macronutrients you should be focusing on. With some of my clients, especially when they first join, I do go with the protein and calories rather than protein macros, protein, fat, carbs, because the fats and carbs will sort of fit themselves, and then it's easier to tweak them later on rather than overload, because protein is more important. Once you can start hitting that consistently, then you can start playing about with the rest of the macronutrients. So yeah, protein, important. Should you have it? Yes. 75 hard. Why are you doing it when you don't believe in fad diets, and do you believe it's a fad? I am doing it to increase my productivity. Is it a fad? Some people might say it is. For me, more than anything, it's about boosting my productivity and mentally challenging myself to do things where I may have dipped off a little bit to become a little lazy. So I wanted to reboost that sort of side of me where I'm like, no, I can be more active, I can do a bit more. I am using a lot of excuses without needing, and I need to be at the forefront of what I coach, what I teach. And I know there's a few things in that I don't, it's not I don't agree with, I don't push this narrative on my clients. So for example, no cheat meals, I don't push that narrative on my clients, but for the next 2 months I will do that myself because I don't need it. Like it's one of them where stuff like no alcohol and stuff like that doesn't bother me because I'm not drinking anyway. But stuff like cheat meals and stuff like that, I don't really call them cheat meals. I don't like the word cheat meals, but what I do like about it is having a structure of consistency, and you seeing progress in yourself as you move forward. So fad is something that is short-lived. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to build better habits for the future. So yes, for some it can be a fad if they don't continue it long term, but for others I think it's a step in the right direction. So I think that's subjective. Fitness trackers. Is a 4 mile walk neat or training? Good question. A 4 mile walk would count as neat. It depends on the walk. If it's a hike or up a mountain or something, then it'd probably go down as more of a training, but you're still in your neat, isn't it? In a way, because it's your steps. But if it was hiking, I would probably class it more towards physical training, whereas if it was just a leisurely walk, I would class it more as increasing your needs. Fitness trackers, calorie burn, how accurate are they? These are great to tracking your steps, heart rate. What else do they do? Steps, heart rate, time. It does a lot. Would I worry about burnt calories? No, because of these can be wrong to up to 60%. So you might go and do your spin class and burn 300 calories, 400 calories. You go to McDonald's on the way home and you eat 200 calories. Well, you've already eaten more than what you've burnt, and that's why I keep saying that if your goal is fat loss, what you consume is more important than what you burn, because you could. This is going to come out a little. This is not the message I put out, but this is the reality of it. You could potentially burn more calories sat on a sofa all day than what you would do doing an hour spin class. No, you would do, but that's the reality of it. And I'm not telling people to stay on the sofa all day because my message is, but that is the reality of it. Like, if you were to eat in a deficit and not do much all day, you're still going to drop body fat. So I think they're great for measuring fucking timers and stuff like that, but to tracking burnt calories, I wouldn't bother, because your watch will say different to a Whoop band, the Whoop band will say different to your phone will say different to the fucking spin bike or the rowing machine or whatever. So they're all different. I would take what they're saying as a pinch of salt and go from there. Good amount of daily steps. Now, this is subjective to you. If you are someone who is super active, you're going to have a higher step count. If you're someone who is very office-based, sit down quite a lot, then you might have a lower step count. What I would say is, if you are someone who has an office job, who doesn't really move that much, 5,000 plus might be a greater target for you. If you're someone who might be walking around a lot and stuff like that, then 15, 20,000 might be better for you. 10, 15, whatever. That might be better for you. So good amount of daily steps is a number that you could hit consistently, with it being a slight challenge and not too easy, but achievable as well. Should you go low fat or low carb for fat loss? Once again, it goes back to the second question of protein. You could go either. I know there's you need some fats in your diet for your hormones and stuff like that, but ultimately if your goal is fat loss, you need to be in a deficit. So I would personally prioritize protein and then let carbs and fats fill the rest of the blank. So some days you might go high fat, low carb, and other days you might go low carb, high fat. It doesn't really matter too much. Losing fat whilst gaining muscle. Can you lose fat whilst gaining muscle? Yes, you can. You could be in a deficit and still increase your muscle mass. You could be in maintenance, drop your body fat, increase muscle mass. So there's different ways to do it. But ultimately, what you need to do is, for that to happen, you need to be doing resistance training, progressively overloading, high protein diet, and to fucking consistency. Barely eating due to fasting, but I'm not losing any weight. So fasting, I've heard this a lot recently. I am now fasting, people are saying. Cool. But you're not losing weight. So my thing would be is that in the window where you're not fasting, you are over consuming your calories. That is where I would go with it. If your goal is fat loss, you need to be in a deficit. If your goal is to drop body fat, you need to be in a deficit. So regardless if you're doing keto, fucking fasting, whatever diet you're doing must create a deficit, and that's how it works. So if you are fasting and you're not losing weight, you're not in a deficit. Simple, period. People might come at me going, wait. Period, done. So yeah, I would look at everything that you're tracking. I would look at everything you're eating, because if let's say your calories are 1,700 and you're having 2 meals a day whilst fasting the rest, and you're eating 2,300, then of course you're not going to drop body fat. How to fast track your tracking MyFitnessPal. So on MyFitnessPal, when you create a meal or when you make a meal at home, we tend to have the same 10, 15, 20 meals. Once you do that meal once, go into MyFitnessPal, go into create meal or whatever, add ingredients and save it as a meal. Next time you go to it, just add it next time round, rather than having to add it manually every time. Be a lot easier for you. Best tracking apps, NutriCheck or MyFitnessPal. The two I would personally go for. If you use a different one, that's up to you. I think there's Fitbit and stuff as well, but they're the two I would go for. 5-2, what is that? So it could mean one or two things. You could do 2-day fast, 5-day eating, or it could also mean calorie cycling. So your calories might be 2,000 calories as a maintenance. Oh, you might be having 2,000 calories, okay, every day. Monday to Friday you eat 1/8, and then Saturday you might have 3,000, and then on Sunday you might be on 2,000. See that? Like you've saved a few calories, gone a bit higher here. So it's just a bit of a calorie cycling that you could do. You could do fucking lower Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday, higher Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, it depends on that bracket of what is on. So I use this a lot with my clients. If they go out on a weekend, I would say, right, let's reduce a couple hundred calories Monday to Friday, boost it up, increase the activities, sorted. So yeah, that is a little Q&A that I've been passed forward. Any questions you do have, please pop them in the comments below. I am more than happy to answer them. Anything you're not too sure of. All good. All good. And like I say, I'm really excited to be pushing this channel and do more Q&As and help you as much as I can.